Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk you through how to record a decent quality audio using your laptop. So there's two different methods that I'm going to speak to you about today. The first one is just using a USB mic, and I'm going to be demonstrating with this, which is the Blue Yeti mic. It's a condenser microphone, but you don't need an interface for it. So I'll talk you through that one first, and then we're going to move on and we're going to have a look at using an interface. It doesn't have to be this brand or anything. Most of them work in a very similar way, and I'll talk you through what to do there as well. Okay, so I'm using a Mac for this demonstration, so I'm going to be using GarageBand, and it's a free piece of software. If you don't have a Mac, something that you might want to try downloading is Audacity software. I've worked with that a couple of times, and things will be quite similar, but not exactly the same. So I'm going to start an empty project by double clicking on there. And at the moment I've got this option window that comes up, and I'm just going to record using a microphone because I'm using the Blue Yeti USB mic that we talked about. So the most important thing is to have a look at the level going along here. You don't want your volume peaking. If I come really close to the mic, you can see that it's peaking right up, and it also doesn't sound very good. So I would say you want to just at the max be in the beginning of the yellow. Now, if you have a volume control or a gain control, I should say, on your mic, which the Blue Yeti has at the back here, if you can see at the top there's a gain. I can turn that down or up to help me with that level. If you're using just a regular USB mic, you might not have that option, so what you would just have to do is move it closer or further away. Okay, so for my purposes here, I'm just going to pop it right directly in front of me. The levels seem fine, so from there I would just go ahead and record. Now I should say you'll have a metronome going. You don't want that. You also don't want this 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a pre-roll. It means it gives you 4 counts before you come in. We don't need that. I can see that the vocal's being captured here nicely, so I'm just going to do a wee quick song. Here's a little song I wrote, and you might want to sing it note for note, and don't worry, just be happy. Now what you can see on the screen here is we've got this sound wave. At the beginning there was some talking, and I can just use this little tool here. I'm at the bottom of the sound wave and I'm dragging in across, and I'm just checking I've got the start. Here's a little song I wrote. Fine, I'm just going to pull that in and drag it across. Okay, and there you have it. Now this next bit is specific to GarageBand. I love to go to the presets that they have in the library. If your library's not shown, there's a couple of things that I've got permanently. That's some controls. That's the library. See if you go to your voice, and I just pop on natural vocal most of the time. If you want a little bit of extra reverb, you can go ahead and put that on, but I think the EQ and the reverb is pretty decent. Here's a little song I wrote, and you might want to sing it note for note. And the good thing about GarageBand, as you saw there, I was changing the reverb as I was listening, and you can get a decent sound pretty quickly. So that is method number 1. Okay, so the second thing I'm going to chat to you about is using an audio interface. Mine is a really simple one. It's only got 2 inputs. This is input 1, and this is the gain for input 1. This is input 2, and this is the gain for input 2. These bits over here, this is basically for my headphones, and this is my headphone volume. And I've got one extra button. Your interface might or might not have it. I can decide if I want a direct monitor by pressing that in or out, and all that means is I'm hearing exactly whatever's going in here in my headphone. So if I put the direct monitor on, I'm hearing exactly what I'm playing. If I don't have that on, I can hear it coming back from what I've got on the computer. So I guess you could call that an indirect monitor. You're hearing it going in through here to the computer, back to the machine, and back to you. Okay, so you decide how you like to work. The simplest way to think about this device is it's just changing the signals that you're putting into it from musical signals into ones that the computer can understand. Okay, that's all this is for. It's a really good piece of equipment to have if you're doing any home recordings or videos. Okay, so there are two types of mics that you might consider using. And again, I would be resourceful and use what you have around the house. The first type of mic is the one that you're maybe more likely to have. This one's an SM58, it's a Shure mic, but basically it doesn't really matter the brand. This is a mic that's used predominantly for live performances, and I would use that in all of my live performances. You can get a really good sound recording just through that. The other mic you might have in your house is something a bit more like this. These are traditionally used more for recording scenarios. It's called a condenser microphone. A main difference between the two is the condenser microphone, this one here, requires an external power source known as phantom power, whereas this one doesn't. You might notice the pop shield in front. This is basically just to soften the S sound of the S's. The fancy word for it is sibilance. You want to try and get rid of the sibilance, the sort of hissy S's. Now, if you've got a pop shield, then great. And if you don't have one, you can actually make a pop shield out of a pair of tights and an old coat hanger. So don't rush out and buy anything. All you need is a little barrier between yourself and the mic. That's the job that that's doing. Okay, so I've got my mic cable, my XLR, and I'm just going to put that into input number 1, this one here. It's the only one that would fit in my particular scenario. You might have 2 channels where you can put in an XLR, and just make sure it's firmly in there. So that's my mic kind of set up, ready to go. And the next thing you would be doing is plugging in your guitar. Now, if you have a electroacoustic guitar, it's simple. Plug it into the guitar, plug it into the channel. Okay, so now I've got my mic plugged in, and I've got my guitar my guitar jack plugged in as well. If you are playing a guitar that doesn't have a pickup, and you have the means to plug 2 mics in, and you have 2 mics, you could maybe think about doing that, one for your vocal, one for your guitar, or like I showed you in the first example, just split the mic, move it so that it's going to catch a little bit of both. Here we are again at our starting point on GarageBand. I'm going to be recording using a microphone or a line input. Both of mine are covered by that, the microphone and then the line input for the guitar. So I'm just going to create a track, okay, and we need to do the same again. We need to go to track and just create a new track to create another one. So same. Okay, so now I've got 2 tracks, and one of them will be for my mic, and what I would do again is I would set my gain levels using the little twiddly bits at the front, and you just want to make sure your gain's round about here when you're singing. And same with your guitar, just plug your guitar in and get your gain round about. So it's peaking, it's far too high. Okay, so somewhere around about there for guitar might be quite good, and somewhere round about there for my voice. Now, why is that? Let me just check we're plugged in properly. Hello. Right, so this is for my voice and this is for my guitar. You want to check each track is actually plugged in the correct place. That was my issue just there. So here's my inputs down here. If this menu isn't up, it's this one here. Okay, and I want that to go into input 1 because that's where I plugged in my mic. This one needs to go into input 2, which it already automatically is, because that's where I plugged in my guitar. Now, at the moment, I'm only able to record on one track or the other. Okay, so if I press record here, it's only going to pick up my voice. And if I press record here, it's only going to pick up the guitar, which obviously isn't what we need. So let's just get rid of these. Now on GarageBand, you need to just change that, and you can do that by right clicking or control and click, and you need to configure the track header. There's the wee shortcut for it there. And we just want the record enable button showing on the track. That's all that's doing. So now we can actually tell it that we want to record both at once. And when I hit record, it's recording something on both channels. At this stage, the most important thing is to make sure that your vocal and your guitar is not going to go into the red. If you do, you get a poor quality recording. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of this, come back to the beginning and do a little quick song. Here's a little song I wrote, I might want to sing it note for note, and don't worry, just be happy. Woo hoo hoo, and there we have it. Essentially that's all you're doing to capture your sound using your interface. Okay, so now you've got two tracks. Top one's vocal, bottom one's guitar, and I'm just going to listen to them back and see what they actually sound like. Same as before. Here. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to trim that, both of those. Just trimming them the same as before. I'm going to move them back. The way I'm doing that is clicking one track, holding shift, clicking the other one and bringing them back. Here's a little song I wrote, I might want to sing it note for note. Okay, so I can see that everything's essentially recorded well and it's sounding okay. At the moment, that's a dry recording, which means there's no effect or anything on it. We want to enhance it a little bit. Why not? So I'm going to just use the presets and not use anything complicated. If you're using a different program, you might want to just put on a little bit of reverb, keep it simple. So I'm going to go into the voice one on track 1, and natural vocal is my favourite. Track 2, I'm going to go into acoustic guitar, and I'm just going to do natural strum, and I'm going to start from there. That might be fine, so let's have a listen to it. Here's a little song I wrote, I might want to sing it. No. So essentially that's not a bad recording. Final thing you want to do though is just adjust the levels a little bit here. So I would say my voice is slightly too overpowering. Maybe the guitar can come up a tiny bit, and we just want to get the balance. Here's a little song I wrote, I might want to sing it note for note, and don't worry, just be happy. Woo-hoo. Everything seems fine there. So what I would do now is I always just use the help menu because I'm a bit lazy, but essentially we're going to export the track. So help, I'm just going to type in export. There we go, export song to disk. And we should get a little menu here telling us, giving us some options. So we can have MP3, other options. I just always go with the default. I'm just going to call it something. Don't worry, be happy. And I just put it to my desktop, but you can put it wherever you want. Export. Now this will be a slightly different process depending on what software you're using. The two words you'll be looking for are either export as like a wave or an MP3, or bounce. It might be called bounce track. And essentially what we've done, I'll just get rid of that, is it's on my desktop. Don't worry, be happy. I can double click that now, and it's in a format where it could play. So that's now in a format that you could do lots of things with. You could burn it onto a CD. You could email it to your gran. You could, and I might make a video on this, you could then sync that to a video. that you took at the same time as doing that, and it just enhances the live performance. So that's the end of the tutorial today. Thank you very much if you tuned in, and if you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below, or if you're seeing this on social media, just send me a wee message. I'm more than happy to help. So if you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe and please click the little bell icon, and that notifies you the next time I put up a video. Thank you very much. See you later.